graduation and we'll be thank the Lord.
Welcome, graduating class of 2020, College of Engineering, and today we're honoring graduates from the Bachelor of Science of Industrial Distribution. Welcome, class 2020 Industrial Distribution. I've got a few short words of commencement, and I'm going to make just 2 points. But they're going to be good practical points that you young men and you young women are going to be able to take from these hallowed walls today and this hallowed university, and it will hopefully keep you for many, many years to come. So, you're probably thinking to yourself, I did such a wonderful job. How smart am I? The world is just going to embrace you and accept you just because of just all the wonderful things that you do. Actually, that's not true. That's not going to happen. But I got some good news for you. And I'm going to quote from the book of Jeremiah. Because in chapter 9 it says, here's what God says. Let not the wise man boast in his wisdom. Let not the mighty man boast in his might. Let not the rich man boast in his riches. But let him who boasts boast in this, that he understands and knows me, that I am the Lord who practices steadfast love, justice, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, declares the Lord. That's from Jeremiah chapter 9. So essentially God is saying, here's what you can brag about. Brag about that you know how good that I am. And that should keep us on any accomplishment that we ever do. Keep us humble and remember everything's from God. You know, Abraham Lincoln, when he was proclaiming the Thanksgiving Day in November, he said, don't forget the source of all these things. And he said it was from God. Here's the second piece of advice. Many of you young men and young women will be wanting to go on to higher education. You'll be wanting to go on and get your Mr. and Mrs. degree. I know what you're thinking. I know each one of you. It used to be just an MRS, but you know, it's an MR too, but that doesn't really work. But here's some advice, young men and young women, on a type of husband and wife you should look for. And I'm going to go back to the Bible again. Seeing a trend here? Proverbs 21. 31, thank you.
Teresa.
An excellent wife, who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She's like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. Men, are you listening to this? Mm-hmm. And women, are you listening to this? Because you're thinking, how does this apply to me? There's a man in here that you're going to want to meet. Let me continue. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it with the fruit of her arms, and she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. So what kind of girl what should she be wearing that will attract you?
Nothing.
No. She should dress herself with strength and make her arms strong. That was the answer I was going for. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hands to the distaff and her hands to hold the spindle. She opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household. And all of her household are clothed in scarlet. She makes her bed covering for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. Strength and dignity are her clothing. And she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise in the gates. So, this woman is not obtainable to any of you young men. I'm sorry. You won't be able to find this kind of woman. Why? Because she's married. And so, you got to ask yourself, every woman that you date, you got to ask yourself, will she be able to grow into this? And there's some things that she's going to be able to already do. Reach out to the poor and to the needy. Strength and dignity, inner clothing. You want to find a woman with Proverbs 31 potential. Young men, are you paying attention to me? Young women, there's a man in this chapter that you should be looking for. And that's a man that values a Proverbs 31 woman. She does him good and not harm. You want to make sure that you find a man who's going to be able to trust you to go out and buy a field and not consult you. That she's got enough wisdom on how to make that choice. So if you're dating a man who's very controlling, you need to think twice, because you'll never be able to develop into a Proverbs 31 woman if that's the case. He's got to be able to trust you. And you can tell that when he's young. Those are the advice to you young men and young women. I've given you lots of tips on how to get your MR and your MRS, because that's the higher degree that you're really thinking about today. You're not thinking about, I'm going to take more tests. You're going to go, yeah, I'm going to get a job, and I want to find someone who's right for me. Anyway, I proceed. That concludes the commencement. Well, the class of 2020, please rise. For the degree of the Bachelor of Science of Industrial Distribution, you have worked hard and long these many years, and you have done well. Charlie Perkins.
Somebody take a picture. Take a picture. Speech.
I actually haven't seen this thing yet. I just got it. First time.
Very proud of you, Charlie.
Thanks, Ma. Appreciate it. I don't know. Can I touch it?
It's yours.
We don't care. All right, let's take a look at it.
You didn't graduate.
Hold it up, hold it up. Yeah, trophy. Nathan's in a Spider-Man suit. Rob's in his raccoon hat. Have they no dignity? Hey, look, there's James.
Rob was just dressing up to storm the Capitol.
Yeah, he was like, what graduation?